Hey guys, Chris here with Work to Game, and today I just wanted to talk a little bit about are games getting better. Brian and I have talked multiple times here on the channel, and I know a ton of times in person about whether or not, what the best games are, how you define that, and this being a time of year when people are buying a lot of games, and even just in my personal library, I'm seeing a lot of franchises. So, I just picked up Forza, Destiny 2, Call of Duty, Final Fantasy 14. These are all things that they have numbers in the name for a reason. These are not new games. They've been, many of them have been a long time running, or they've come from teams of people that have been a long time running. So it's interesting to see if our game's getting better. And if it's just an opinion and you're going to say that your favorite game was something you played in 1995 and everything since then's been crap, you're entitled to your opinion, and there's nothing anybody should or can do to change it. That being said, if we have to try to measure things objectively, I would say that some of the things I would measure games by is the amount of fun they bring to the world, and the world population is growing, so total number of copies sold is not a perfect metric, but you can look at how the percentage of gamers worldwide seems to be outpacing that. So the that kind of ability to get out there and spread. So the more people a game can reach, you can also look at things like its lasting impact. So if a game comes up with a concept, it's hard to invent a new concept these days, but if it comes up with a concept that either brings in a new way to play a game, a new way to design a game, a new way to market a game, or a new demographic of players, things like the Wii come to mind, that has a lasting impact on the industry. Something that you can kind of track back to, right? These 2 or 3 games were major influences on future games. So when I think of that, I think absolutely there are games for 2017 that are going to have that lasting impact. We just don't know which ones yet. And there will be future games. To say there will never be a better game is ridiculous. But I do have to say that knowing that, the ideal time for me to enjoy a game was probably from ages 10 to 16, when I had a lot of free time and everything I was doing was new. So, World of Warcraft, in my eyes, was the first of its kind. And it's not that was true. EverQuest was already out there. There were other games already out there. But it was the first game I played where I had to farm to get a mount. And then it was my first flying mount. And it was my first MMO PvP experience. And it was my first raid experience. And my first dungeon experience. And several of my first expansions where you kind of gear down and I'd play 18 to 20 hours a day for 2 weeks to get through the content. And so there's going to be that kind of that flashback memory of beauty that World of Warcraft will always have in my heart, no matter what the current state of the game is, no matter where the game goes from here. It can become an utter piece of crap, and I'm still going to know that Vanilla WoW and some of those early expansions were some of, Burning Crusade specifically, was some of my favorite time to play video games. But to say that doesn't mean there are developers that are doing amazing things right now. Minecraft comes to mind. It has changed the way we look at video games as a culture. It's hit dozens and dozens of countries and populations and younger kids and all these things that I don't know any other game could have done in the same way had it not been invented and marketed and developed the way it has been. And that's not just to give credit to Notch. He definitely has his place in that, but it's been all the mod developers. It's been, it just was a perfect storm that has just made a huge lasting impact, for better or worse. And I think that means that it has to go down as one of the greats. That being said, there are a lot of things that have lasting impacts that are bad. EA and Activision at various times have been guilty of this as companies. They come in and they do things that have lasting impacts on the way we develop games because they brought a corporate profitability standpoint to it. The other side of that is that when you have AAA developers that pick up indie developers, they have the ability to give resources to things where things like Halo and Gears of War and all that would not have existed if it weren't for their relationship with Xbox. So those are some great games. So you have to kind of question. So I don't know how to clearly define it. I don't know how to define it. I don't think there is one way to define it where everybody would be happy with it. But it's an interesting time of year to look down and see what those great games are. I never got big into the Assassin's Creed series, but the Assassin's games have done very, very well, and the Origins one is on the store right now, and it's on sale, and it's tempting to try to go get into those because they've run so long. There must be something good about them. There's no way all these people are buying it and hating it. And you can't just go to Reddit to find out if a game is good or not, because you see things like Destiny 1 where there's all these people who bashed on it at the time and said it's utter crap, but they put thousands and thousands of hours in. And then the moment you move everybody over to Destiny 2, they go, oh, Destiny 1 was better. It was better. It was way, way better. And it's like, well, can we flash back a year when you were talking trash about it? Because that's incredibly common, is we look back and we realize something we complained about at the time was one of the best experiences we've ever had. A summer camp your parents made you go to, a year in high school, all these things that in hindsight were pretty influential. And if you remove the pain from the time, which our brains do quite well, what's left is actually a lot of distilled joy. And so my question to you guys is, what is your favorite game of 2017? It doesn't have to be a game that came out in 2017. It could be something that you just finally got to playing and you're really enjoying. And what makes a game the best game? Because I think games are getting better. But in the year 2053, if I'm still around and I'm still playing games, they're probably going to be VR, and they're going to have all this stuff, and the capabilities will be astounding. But that doesn't mean I'm going to enjoy it more than games I did in the past, even though objectively, for the sake of the industry as a whole, there are more kids enjoying it then. It's bringing them more fun. It's stimulating their brain. It's adding more replayability. All the things that we can use as metrics of what a good game is. So it is a better game. It doesn't mean I personally will enjoy it more or I'll even be good at it, but it is a better game. I mean, look at like the Nintendo Switch and the technology that's brought, and the games like Zelda. That's amazing. And that game literally could not have existed in 1985. We didn't have any amount of hardware in the world to put that on any platform. And so you have all these boss fights and all that that are incredibly intriguing. And when you go back and you play games from 1985, 1990, 2000, especially games that you didn't play then, that's what I really encourage you. If you want to get a good barometer on how good Nintendo 64 games were, don't go back and play your favorite game. Buy a Nintendo 64 game off of eBay for $1 and go play that, because that will really show you the difference in those platforms and a game today. The reason I like going back and playing Ocarina of Time is because I liked Ocarina of Time. But as a standalone, if it came out as a brand new title today, it would be unacceptable. What makes it great, what makes it one of the greatest of all time, is that it is very of its time. It was influential and groundbreaking when it released. It was amazing they fit all that onto one cartridge. And if you've ever seen interviews with the developers looking back over the development of that, it's amazing what they achieved. So I think that you're going to see Mario games continue to shine. You're going to see these brief shining moments. Things like the Switch, I think, will make an impact. The Wii will make an impact. That's just Nintendo. When you look over into the Xbox, Sony world, where it's more developers are king, you have these set developers who seem to come back together and put out things like Destiny that will make a long-lasting impact. There were chronic issues with Destiny 1. The reason they had to relaunch. And the fact that people look at Destiny 2 and say, it doesn't have all the same features as Destiny 1, it's a new game. And Destiny 1 didn't have all those features on day one. So, they rebuilt it from the ground up because it had chronic issues. It was trying to do something new and inventive, and it did that. But it was time to rebuild, not expand, like Final Fantasy or WoW does. So I feel like I'm getting onto a little bit of a tangent here, and maybe there's a separate topic. So what do you guys think the greatest games of all time are, and what do you think defines that, and what is your favorite games of 2017? What are you looking forward for 2018? Definitely just start that conversation in the comments below. We really do appreciate hearing from you guys. This has been Chris with Work to Game, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, it's me, Thanks so much for watching this video. You should click over here to see more videos just like it, or you should click down here to check out our recent vlog. But you can also click somewhere down here below to hit the subscribe button, as well as check out our other info. Again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.